Okay, so we ended halfway through a problem. This was part A. To have $6,000 in 5 years, we would have to deposit $5,150 at 3.1% compounded annually, and that would get us to $6,000. Okay. The next question is, well, what if you don't have $5,150? What if you only have $5,000? What interest rate would you have to have in order to have the $6,000 you need in 5 years? So we're still dealing with the same formula. The amount of money you have after the period ends is equal to the amount of money you start with, times 1 plus the interest rate divided by the number of times it's compounded a year, all raised to the number of times it's compounded a year times the number of years. A, how much do we want to have? 6,000 equals P, how much do we have? 5,000 times 1 plus. Okay, do we know the interest rate?
No.
No. How many times a year will it be compounded? Once, because it said annually, right? So it's going to be R divided by 1, or just R, raised to the N is R times
5.
T is 5. And we need to get R by itself. Mathematically, what would the next logical step be to get R by itself?
Get rid of the parentheses.
Subtract.
Square root of 5.
One. Sorry, one. Why?
I want R by itself.
Could you subtract the 5,000?
No, I cannot subtract the 5,000. I cannot distribute the 5,000 unless I want to do 1 plus R to the 5th power first, which would be 1 plus R times 1 plus R times 1 plus R times 1 plus R times 1 plus R. Does anybody want to expand that binomial to the 5th power? Yeah, I don't either.
Could we
Divide 5,000. Great idea.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Okay. Yeah, this 5,000 is multiplied by this, so we're not going to subtract it. You got to do the opposite of multiply. Now, I'm not going to do any rounding. Well, you don't need to round. 6,000 divided by 5,000 is 1.2
Yes.
or 6/5. I don't care. We can go either way, as long as you're not rounding. Y'all want 6/5
Yes.
or do you want 1.2? 6/5 I heard first. So I'm going to call this 6/5 is equal to 1 plus R to the 5th power. I want to get R by itself. What would you like to do next?
Could you square or 5 squared? 5. I don't know the math term.
5e.
The 5th root of it?
Yeah, that.
Fifth root.
Okay. What are you trying to do?
Get rid of the 5.
Get rid of the
Get rid of the 5. What happens when you raise a power to a power?
cancels it. Nope.
Raising a power to a power, what do you do with
Oh,
them?
wait, multiply.
You multiply them. How can you turn a 5 into a 1?
You raise it to the 5th
1
power.
fifth. 1/5.
Okay. So what if instead of taking the 5th root of both sides, technically it's the exact same thing, instead of taking the 5th root of both sides, I'm going to raise each side to the 1/5 power.
Isn't that more complex?
It's really not. Because when you're using a calculator, there's extra steps to go through to put the 5 as an index. Whereas I can do a caret 0.2 or caret 1 divided by 5 a lot easier. Okay, so raising the 5th power to the 1/5, that's 1. So what I have now is, and again, I'm not going to do the math. I do not want to round. I have 6/5 to the 1/5 power equals
1.
1 plus R. I want R by itself.
Subtract
Subtract one.
Okay, so I now have R equals, just because I don't like the R on the other side, 6/5 to the 1/5 power minus 1. That I'll type in the calculator. The very last step, go ahead and type in the calculator.
0.037.
Why? Let me just go.
Is there a number after the 7?
1372.
Oh, that was. Has it been?
I had to look at the
single line?
question out for like.
Do what?
questions. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, so what percentage is that?
Up to 3%.
It's not 3%.
Interest rate.
0.003.
What do you mean?
Not 4%.
3.71%?
Yes,
When
yes,
you're
yes,
talking
yes,
about
yes.
getting
Yes,
interest
more.
from somebody, 3% and 4% are huge differences, okay? Okay, so if I have $5,000, if I was able some way to find a bank paying 3.71%, I could put my money into that bank, and in 5 years, my $5,000 would be around $6,000. Okay? Questions, comments?
Do you do this?
Do I do this?
Yeah. To like find out how much money you're gonna get.
You're not gonna find 3%.
Well, like how much money you're. Do you ever do this?
How much money do you normally get, like percent?
Banks are paying like less than 1%, I think.
So 4% if your balance is over 100,000.
So, I'm gonna stop recording for a second.